All right, welcome into your BMW Championship watch party. It is not a cut sweat because there is no cut, and it's barely a watch party because there's nothing to watch. As we get into this, the second round has been suspended due to inclement weather, so I figured, you know what? Change of pace this week. Let's just start looking over the data, see what this means for the final 2+ rounds. If there's anybody that we can bet right now while things are not changing, we can look through lineup. We can do whatever. There's a pretty interesting story that's being told right now, especially for this no cut event. And there are a lot of you that are very happy with what has transpired over the course of Friday's round. So let me show to you what I mean. According to cutsweats.com, across the board, Jon Rahm is the highest owned golfer on the slate, about 30% owned. Well, we know that he was tied for the lead through one round, and he is currently 5 shots back through 10 holes in the second round because Bryson DeChambeau went out and went bonkers and shot a 60, had a very good look for 59 on his final hole of the day, did not convert. Well, that made 24% of you incredibly happy because Bryson DeChambeau was owned 24% across the industry, and he is the second highest owned golfer on the slate. Now, we can look through this. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about the data or what we've seen so far, feel free to drop it in the chat. I'll go through as much as possible. But I do want to look at this Bryson round just a little bit. He goes out and birdies his first 2 holes. He makes an eagle on 4, a birdie on 5, a birdie on 7, a birdie on 8, 11, 12, 14 birdies there, and then the eagle on 16. So what did that look like in terms of the strokes gained metrics? Well, he was great off the tee, as you can imagine. He gained 1.6 there. He was phenomenal on approach, 4.8. Is that a number that we have seen Bryson DeChambeau do in a single round recently? Let's see. I'm going to pull up the Holy Grail here. I'll just sort by Bryson, and we'll start to see how good of an approach day that was for him based on, well, he gains quite a bit, but let's see. What did he have? 4.8. That is the second best single round. And maybe I don't know if I can zoom in on this. Let's see. Maybe I can zoom in on this, make this a little bit bigger. That is the second best approach round by Bryson DeChambeau in his career, in his entire career. So is he likely to do it again? No, but he is a very good approach player, or at least historically has been. And if you look at his round by rounds over the course of recent events, you can see he's gained on approach in 2, 4, 6 of his last 7. So not unrealistic to think he's going to continue to gain strokes on approach, but he's just not going to gain 4.8 again. That would be very unlikely. And then, of course, he rounds that out with another 3 strokes gained on the putting surfaces, which is his best single round since the first round of the Wells Fargo Championship. So that is how you get a ceiling round from Bryson DeChambeau. And that's exactly what we saw on Friday. There's a couple of other interesting things that are going on in the world of golf right now. The number one most interesting thing might be that Patrick Cantlay is keeping pace with Bryson. And if you look at these stat lines, could they be any more different? Bryson DeChambeau gaining 3.8 strokes off the tee. Patrick Cantlay, a 0. Bryson gaining 3.3 on approach. Patrick Cantlay plus 0.4. Bryson's losing strokes around the green. Cantlay's losing more. So how in the world is Patrick Cantlay keeping pace? Well, right here, the putter. 11.14 strokes gained over his first 2 rounds. Round 1 was crazy. He gained 6. Round 2, almost equally as crazy. He gained 5.1. Do you know what that means? Do you have any idea what that means for Patrick Cantlay? And I'm pretty sure about this. I believe those are not 1, but 2 the two single best putting rounds of Patrick Cantlay's career. They are by a mile. His best putting rounds previous to this week was the 4 that he gained in round 4 of the American Express this year. That's when he shot, I think he shot a 60 or 61 that day, gained 4.3 strokes putting. I cannot tell you how unlikely it is for Patrick Cantlay to have not only shot his absolute best single putting rounds on Thursday, but then to follow it up with one that was almost equally as good on Friday. It's absolutely insane. Now, you're going to hear me say it is incredibly unlikely that that continues. And of course, I could be proven wrong, but it is shocking what Patrick Cantlay is up to right now. There's a question in the chat about what is going on with Harris English. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at what's going on with Harris English. Well, let's do 2 rounds here. So let's actually go round by round. So first round, I mean, he was very neutral. He was within a quarter of a stroke of 0 in every single category. I don't think there's anything to look into there. Round 2, he can't putt. That's it. I mean, this is actually a pretty good stat line for Harris English. So he's minus 5 on the day, minus 2 through his second round. He lost 2.5 strokes putting. Well, what does Harris English normally do? Let's go look. Usually a pretty solid putter. Let's see. So this is round by round. I have 883 rounds on Harris English, every measured round he's ever had. Look at this. He has gained in every round dating back to the first round of the Travelers, every measured round. There is not specific strokes gain metrics for the Open Championship. So to me, pretty outlier rounds, right? To lose minus 2.5, that is his worst putting round since the Masters in April. So if you were probably the jock market is probably the only place that you could kind of buy shares of Harris English at the moment. But you probably should. You know, he's too far back to win this golf tournament, but you have to imagine that with the rest of his stat profile, there is a really good chance that English improves his position on the weekend. How can Sam Burns wins this? Asked Jeff. And that seems like a question specific for someone who needs Sam Burns to win this golf tournament. So let's take a look. So Sam Burns was one of our 3 co-leaders after round 1, and unfortunately has gotten off to a very slow start. That is not going to work. So he was 3 under through 5. He gave one back on 9, and then he gave one back on 10. If we look at how easy or how difficult the front 9 has played this week or on this Friday, he didn't take near advantage. You know, it is a 9-hole stretch that is playing 1.6 strokes under par. Now, Sam Burns only played it at 1 under. So he lost about 0.6 of a stroke to the field. And then he is already kind of behind the 8 ball going into that second 9, which is playing a stroke under par. And he is on the par 5 12th, which is the easiest hole on the back 9, but he's in the rough. So Sam Burns to win this, let me lay out a path for Sam Burns to win this. He's absolutely going to need to take advantage of the 2 par 5s. Now, 1, he's already in the rough, which is unfortunate. But he's going to need to take advantage of the 2 par 5s and probably get 1 more birdie at least, which would get him to call it 12 under. Is 12 under going to be good enough? Sergio's going to extend. You think Rahm is going to be in contention. So let's just say 16 holds as the lead, and Sam Burns can get to 12 by the end of this. It's not great. He's going to have to make up 4 strokes over the course of 2 rounds to some of the best players on 2 of the best players in the world. What is this round recap? I've never seen this before. Whoa. Oh boy. Oh boy. They're doing like a thing, like a story thing. I don't like Sam Burns. Sam Burns is going to need to win. Sam Burns needs to probably get to 13 under by the end of his round. So he has work to do. That would give him kind of an outside chance. I still don't love his chances, but that's kind of where we're at the moment. Sungjae, you know, this is something that we wanted to keep an eye on leading into this week. And we are starting to see this right here. This is the key for Sungjae. He has really struggled with the putter over the course of the past couple weeks, but he was getting closer and closer and closer. And now we're seeing him roll the rock beautifully. So this is a really good DNA baseline, whatever you want to call it, for Sungjae. This is very encouraging. There's nothing out of the ordinary here. There was a comment about Hudson Swafford. I know a lot of us took advantage of Swafford for the min price this week. And I've got to admit, I think we used the wrong formula and got the right answer here, guys, because the idea for Swafford leading into the event was how great of a ball striker he had been last week at the Northern Trust and how poorly he putted. Well, flip the script this week because he's losing strokes off the tee. He's playing great on approach. That's fine. But gaining 5.8 strokes with the putter. I bet you that might be close to sealing Harris English, or I keep calling him Harris English. They look so similar. Hudson Swafford putting week. Let's see. Hudson Swafford's best ever putting week. Okay, so he's basically right here. If he stops playing right now, it would be like his 4th or 5th best putting week of his career, which obviously he's not going to stop now, and there's a chance that gets worse, but just to kind of show you where that's at, and it's a counting stat. So keep that in mind. So I'm hoping that we get a little bit more sustainable version of Hudson Swafford over the weekend. He has probably built himself up enough of a baseline here, enough of a buffer that no matter what, at $6,000, he's going to pay for himself. So pretty stoked about that. However, I think, again, we used the wrong formula and got the right answer, but sometimes it's good to be on that side of it. Let me just check my settings here, make sure I have everything set up. I'm going to throw a banner up here. Okay. So, Infamous asks, is there anyone that you should start selling in jock market? Well, the way that I would assess that is basically via the putting stats, right? And looking to the baseline. And actually, I do have a tool for this. It's the Showdown cheat sheet. You could look at this for basically after any round of the tournament that you want. But the biggest sell for me is Patrick Cantlay. There's just no way he continues to putt this well. There's no way. Absolutely no way. Then if we look at some other guys that we would be starting to sell, unfortunately, if you wanted to hedge off Hudson Swafford, this might be the time to do it. If you wanted to hedge off, or if you wanted to get off of Sergio Garcia, this is probably the time to do it. Sergio Garcia, literally one of the worst putters on planet Earth, has gained 4.4 strokes to the field with the flat stick over the course of the first round and 17 holes. The fact that he's losing a quarter of the stroke on a pro, I mean, this is horrible. This is horrible. So I'd be selling Sergio right now. Who else? Those are the big ones. The rest of these guys. So if you're looking at these putting numbers and you're seeing high numbers, that's okay as long as either that is part of the player's DNA, like it is of Sungjae, or they are also hitting the ball well. In the case of maybe like, Rory's driving it beautifully. His approach game still a little bit wonky, but that's okay. That's okay. I do think, is Rory buyable? Interesting. Is Rory buyable? I think so. He's normally gotten off to slow starts. He didn't have a great round on Friday. Let's look at his Friday specific round. He's right here. Lost big on approach. Outside of one round last week, this has been a strong suit for him. I think I'd probably hold on Rory. I'm not sure he's buyable, and I'm not sure that you'd want to sell if you were getting off on him. I think he's a hold at the moment. Adam says, any live bets to win? Let me pull this up. I'm going to go to Caesars. If you're not signed up at Caesars, which used to be William Hill, they are going insane with promos right now. So check rickrungood.com/bets and see if it's available in your state, because that is by far kind of the best thing that they have going right now are some of these promos. They're giving away like literally $5,000 in free bets. Okay. So any live bets to win. So Caesars is all in on 3 guys. They're all in on Bryson, Jon Rahm, and Patrick Cantlay. Bryson is 2-1. Rahm is 3-1. Cantlay is plus 333. Now, what we saw here on Friday is really good news for the chasers, because imagine this scenario. So we're stopped right now. We are in a weather delay. It is soft. These guys are playing preferred lies. There are going to be a lot of opportunities the rest of the day. If you are going to make a bet now, it should be a golfer who is still out on the course. And I'll give you an example. Here's Abraham Answer. If you, for whatever reason, wanted to bet Abraham Answer, who is 4 under through 11, he is 6 shots back. If he plays the final, 7 holes at their average, he's going to play them about 1 under, 8/10 of a stroke to 1 under. If he plays him a little bit better, he might get it in at 1.5, 2 strokes under par, something like that. So you can think, if you simulated this 1,000 times over his final 7 holes, Abraham Answer is probably going to get to 12, 13 under. There's a really good chance that Answer is 13 under and in third by the time this round is over. Answer's 22-1. If he does go out and shoot a 2 or 3 under on his back 9, what do you think this price is going to do? It's certainly going to get a lot shorter. Certainly going to get a lot shorter. So if you want to bet someone right now, it has to be somebody out on the course, because the opposite is true for Rory McIlroy. Rory McIlroy is currently 28-1. It's pretty long. 28-1. His position is only going to get worse, right? Answer is probably going to pass him. There's a chance Sam Burns passes him. There's a chance that Dustin Johnson passes him, even Xander if he gets hot. So if you want to bet Rory, you wait. Okay, so that's kind of what we're dealing with here at the moment. So some guys that I think would be interesting to live bet right now. Let's see what Xander's doing. Because Xander has the same holes as Answer to play. We know Xander has the firepower. This isn't bad. This is a pretty good, this is what Xander does, right? Like, be kind of good across the board. Don't do anything too crazy. He's currently 33-1. That would be one that I consider. Does anybody have a lot of holes to play? Most guys have like 6 holes to play. Yeah, not so much. Okay. Could we bet DJ 13? He's in the fairway on 14, which is good because 14 is one of the more difficult holes on the back. It's not hard. It's easy, but it's one of the more difficult because it's not a birdie fest hole. So if he made a birdie here from 146, he gets a par 5. Could he get 1, 2, maybe 3 more? Could he get to 11? If he could get to 11, still probably not deep enough. He's 40-1. I don't like that. I think I like Xander better. Guys I would wait on that are really, the Sungjae stuff's kind of interesting. I worry that Sungjae is going to have to beat Cantlay and beat DeChambeau, but he's 20-1 and it's only going to get worse. When Sergio passes him or when Rahm passes him, the Sungjae number is going to get worse, but I still think it's going to be 16 under par is going to be your lead over the final 2 holes. Did Stewart Cink current performance change your position about him? No, I don't think so. He's not playing all that well, is he? He's T27. Let's see what his metrics look like. No. He's losing strokes in both ball striking categories. No, I'm not sure if I'm missing something, but I don't know why my current opinion would change on Cink. Not playing all that well. I want to look at a couple of things here. Oh, this was a question that I saw. Evan says, over under 1% chance the U.S. doesn't take Spieth to the Ryder Cup. My fiance says his recent finishes make him shaky. I think he's crazy. Jordan Spieth will be on the Ryder Cup team, and it is under 1% that he does not get picked. He is the ultimate clubhouse guy. He's got the magic. He's got a win this year. He's been playing much better. I know recently the last couple of weeks are like a little wonky, but no, less than what he is an absolute mortal lock to be on this Ryder Cup team. I've not heard when they are restarting. I have not heard when they are restarting. So for that question there, let's go a little bit further. I want to kind of see what that DJ thing is gnawing at me a little bit. And the Sam Burns thing is gnawing at me a little bit too. So here's what we're going to do. So DJ's in the fairway at 14 with 146 yards to go. Let's see kind of what other guys have done in this position. So DJ, I think, is one of these white ones because it's unresolved. So 146 yards would be basically here. Yeah, there's not a lot of birdies on this hole. There's just not a lot of birdies coming. There's been, it looks like 3 from the fairway, mostly pars. So probably unlikely that DJ makes a birdie there. How about, I think Burns is on the left-hand side of 12. What I want to see is if Burns can still make birdie from over here. A couple guys have. I'm not that excited about it. He's going to have to probably lay up, and he's right. I think he's one of these white ones. Yeah, he's that white one right there. 283 yards. He's got 293 to the pin. Let me turn off the radar. It's a little easier to read this way. Yeah, I don't like the chances for either one of those guys. Kisner surely can't get onto the Ryder Cup team, right? That is correct. The PGA Tour or the United States guys are they're just much too deep. No, there's no way Kisner's on that team. What do you make of Sergio's resurgence? Is that what we're calling it? Is that what we're calling it now? Sergio's resurgence. Let's go hole by hole. Let's start with these metrics here. So Sergio is 5 under, bogey free on Friday. The problem, there's a lot of problems with this. Sergio is he's losing strokes on approach, and he is gaining 4.4 putting. Let's put this into perspective. Sergio Garcia, I cannot tell you the last time he gained 4.5 strokes over the course of 4 rounds. Let's see. It was, I'm still scrolling. The 2018 WGC Mexico, 3.5 years ago. So this is, to me, an outlier. That putter is going to come back. I imagine that based on his metrics over the course of the final 2 rounds, he probably gives back a stroke or 2 on the putting surfaces and finishes like T9. That's probably the way. Like I'm not all that optimistic that Sergio keeps this going at all. Well, let's actually look at this. We can do this. See what's cool about this is we have time to kind of deep dive this and look at Sergio's scorecard here. So we can do strokes gained by hole, which I think is, okay, so it's here. So let's see. He gained almost a full stroke on 17. So he probably made a bomb there. A half a stroke on 3 and 5. 3, 5, 6, and 17. Let's go look at 3, 5, 6, and 17. So on 3, he made a... Oh, wait, that might be... Sorry. I might be looking at the wrong round. Yes, I was. So it is actually number 1, number 11, and number 12. 1, 11, and 12. So number 1, he made a 36-footer. On number 11, he made a 13-footer. And on number 12, he made a 7-footer? That can't be right. Am I reading this right? Am I absolutely outside my mind right now? 11, 12. Okay, I guess that's right. 11. No, that's right. Those numbers add up. Yeah, so he's not going to make 36-footers. He's below tour average on 8-footers and in. Oh, and he gained 1 on 15. Yeah, another 33-foot. It's just not happening. Riku. What up, Rick? I took a stab in the mega this week, and late in round 1 yesterday, my live winnings was 1 million. That's nice. That was exciting for 5 minutes. Yeah, so Rom, Burns, Neiman, Kokrak, Vegas, Hoffman. Kokrak has been very ugly, hasn't he? He played better today, but my goodness, I don't know what his issue has been. Let's look up what Kokrak's been up to. Because if he loses strokes again off the tee this week, it's killing me. I mean, I didn't roster him, but like it's just surprising from like a data perspective. We're also going to get probably oh my gosh, Colin's losing 3.6 strokes on approach. We are in for something really, and I use the word amazing, but that doesn't mean positive for Collin Morikawa. So Morikawa is now going to be on the verge without some unbelievable weekend of losing strokes on approach in his in basically 4 consecutive events, 0 or worse in 4 consecutive events, which is something he had not even done 2 in a row at any point in his career. I bet you if we add up the amount of strokes he lost in his last 4 events, it might be the total number of strokes that he's lost in other events that he's lost in his career. It is really, really surprising. I mean, the back injury makes it much more palatable, I guess, from a long-term perspective, understanding that he's probably going to come back down to, or he's going to go back to his own mean when he gets healthy and when he gets right. But man, not very good for Mr. Morikawa. How are you feeling about a Sungjae top 5? So I covered Sungjae a little bit earlier. The metrics are really strong. Now, a top 5 is a big ask in a field like this, and especially in a birdie fest. Now, he is, he's going to be trailing Cantlay and Bryson by 3 and 4 shots respectively, but he's going to be in the mix of basically everyone else when this second round is over. There's really, the only guy that I think could even get to 15 or 16 under through round 2 is probably Jon Rahm, right? He's already 3 under through 10. He has laid up he's just in a prime spot on 11. If he got one there, and we know how good Jon Rahm is, he's going to get 2 par 5s. So Rahm is probably the only guy who threatens 15 under over the course of the next couple of hours. And eventually when they come back by the time that round 2 is over. But, that only leaves a couple of spots for Sungjae. So I'm very optimistic with how he's playing, but the margin of a top 5 when he's likely to be T4 after the second round is, it's a very, very small margin. Very small margin. Justin Thomas. Let's see what Justin Thomas has been up to. This is, it's kind of a JT stat line as of late, right? Gaining off the tee, small gain on approach, gaining around the green is a little bit surprising, and the putters let him down again. He's just not able to figure that out. So this is not much of a surprise. Let's look at Charlie Hoffman. Let's look at his second round. Man, there's not much to be optimistic about. Unfortunately, I'm rostering a lot of Hoffman too. Only 1 under through his first 9 holes. Let's see where he's at on the course right now. But yeah, I could also use some Charlie Hoffman here. Oh, this is so he's already in the greenside bunker on 10. If he can get up and down, he's got some holes ahead of him, but we're not seeing a very good version of Charlie Hoffman, unfortunately. It's always great when you're, 1 under through 9 and you're losing strokes to the field. That's how easy this course is playing. And if you're not taking advantage of that looks like it's Hoffman's issue. I don't know how many fairways he's hit, but if you're not hitting the fairway and you're playing lift clean and how do you make this bogey from the middle of the fairway, fly it 20 yards too long? How about this one? Yeah, not in the fairway. That's a par 3. He looked off there. Yeah, he's not hitting fairways. You can't miss fairways when you're playing preferred lies. It's absolutely crazy. So just to kind of recap where we're at, they're still in a weather delay. I've not seen when they're coming out of it. Bryson's round was magical, absolute ceiling stuff. Patrick Cantlay is playing to a rate that I can't even imagine coming close to continuing. Sungjae looks great. Sergio looks unsustainable. Swafford, unfortunately, looks unsustainable. But for what we paid for him, at this point, it probably doesn't matter, right? I mean, if he really stinks and finishes T20, you got your value out of him. He's also given us a birdie streak or 2. Yeah, streak here, 4, 5, 6 on Friday. I think he had one. Oh, I thought he had one on Thursday. He didn't. So hard to be too upset about anything Hudson Swafford's going to do moving forward. Rahm's your wild card here. Rahm obviously can play spoiler to, I don't think he can play spoiler to Bryson being the second round leader, but I think he could get to 14 or 15 under. So that's the other thing. If you wanted to bet Rahm, you have to bet him now. He's 3-1. I'm not going to bet that, but if you wanted to bet Rahm, you have to bet it now. Oh, Evan's kind of continuing this conversation here. So Rahm is 12-1 as end of round leader. Is that worth a punt if your theory is the greens are going to be soft and scoreable? Well, I mean, they're already soft and scoreable. I think it's going to be harder to be more soft and more scoreable than they are right now. So I'd actually I would have actually preferred it not to have changed, Evan, because if they do, like, if there's water on the surface or they do change in pace, they're going to have to figure out the pace of these greens again. So I would have preferred if this delay did not come. So let's lay out a scenario in which Rahm can get 5 birdies coming in or play them 5 under. And I think it's a pretty narrow window. So he's got to make birdie here from 83 yards. Let's see what other guys have done on 11. And let's see if that is a position that other guys have taken advantage of. Not that those other guys are Jon Rahm, but actually Rahm's basically the furthest down there. Wow, he bit off a lot of it. Look at how narrow that gets. And Rahm bit off the most of anyone. Like these are the guys that are going for it. These guys over here on the right, these are the guys that are laying up. And Jon Rahm laid up down the throat. How that he is like so far in control of his game right now. That's what that tells me. So yeah, I mean, the good news is the layup is good. The layup, it's very easy to make birdies here. This is such an easy hole. It's playing to 3.6. There's been 23 birdies. There's almost been as many birdies as pars. There's only been 1 bogey. So he's got to make one here. So, okay, let's give Rahm this one. So now he's at 12 under. He's got to birdie both the par 5s. I'm not going to give him an eagle, but I'm not going to give him a par. So that's 14 under. So we still got to find 2 more birdies coming in. Well, where are those birdies coming from? 13, 14, 15 are all playing under par. 17 and 18 are playing over par. That's probably not going to happen. So he's probably got to get 2 birdies on 13, 14, 15, which means he's got to play 3 holes, basically 2 shots better than the field. No, I don't think it's worth a punt. Listen, Jon Rahm has made a fool out of prognosticators saying there's something that he can't do. But I think 12-1 for him to be, and that's only to tie, right? So if you get 12-1, Evan, and he gets to 16, which I don't think is possible or likely at all, you're really only getting 6-1 for the dead heat. So no, I don't think you can bet that. The number should be much longer than that. It should be much longer than that. I have a Rahm first and a Patrick Cantlay second. Oh, like an exact finish. Can you calculate the odds on what that would be currently? Well, I would guess, I'm not going to calculate it, but I would guess that is probably right now, call it 25 times 20. So call it, we're doing the calculator right now, 5%. So 20-1, which is still very much better than what you got it at, but still unlikely for it to happen. Is Cam Smith, excuse me, I confuse those guys all the time. Is Cam Smith doing better than he was yesterday? Well, let's look at what he did yesterday. So yesterday he gained 1.2 to the field. Oh my gosh, no. Cam Smith's been horrible on Friday. He's been horrible. He's won over. Oh my God. You can't be over par here. Losing 1.5 on approach, losing around the green, and losing putting. How's he doing that? How's he doing all 3 of those? He might be tired. It's a lot of golf. A lot of emotional golf. Oh, here we go. He made double on 6 from the green side bunker. And then 3 putts from 16 feet. Yikes. And then he did the same thing that this is what Charlie Hoffman did, I think. Didn't Charlie Hoffman do the exact same thing? Fly it like 20 feet or 30 feet too far here over the green on 9. I wonder if those guys are not reading the wind correctly or something like that. Interesting. All right, what else we got? Who else? They're still in a weather delay. I don't know what's going to happen here. The course is playing as easy as humanly possible. Let's see. Who can we target for matchups? Oh, Hideki, what a bad round. But that's normal. Munoz lost a stroke and a half putting. That's not like him, is it? Munoz might be a kind of like a bounce back candidate here. Yeah, he's normally a pretty good putter. I mean, he's not the best putter, but he's normally much better than that. I wouldn't mind Munoz, man. He can get hot too. He's a pretty good like one round at a time guy. That's what you want from Munoz. One round at a time. Brooks is playing a little bit better today. Cam Davis made another eagle, I believe. Let's see. Cam Davis is so incredibly valuable when it comes to fantasy scoring. Yeah, he did. 16. Let's actually look at that. I want to look at let's go to the Holy Grail. Let's go to fantasy data. Let's go and look at DraftKings points gained. And I want to look at let's just look at Davis first and see what's going on here. Yeah, 14.6. So look at how 26, he gains 26 points on the field at the Northern Trust, 33 at the 3M Open, 24 at the John Deere, 78 at the Rocket Mortgage. And that was, I mean, he won that, but that's really the only one he contended at, right? So here's Cam Davis, who routinely gains double-digit DraftKings points to the field, who is routinely single-digit level of ownership. It's just, he makes so many birdies and eagles. He makes so many of them. Made 2 eagles. Like, look at this. Let's look at, let's get rid of Cam Davis. Let's see. So if we just do eagles this is per tournament. Justin Thomas is number 1. Cam Davis is number 2. This goes back 3 years. So that's also includes prime Justin Thomas. Birdie streak. He's at 0.51, which is top like 15 guys on tour. Now, bogey-free round, he probably gets, he's pretty bad in bogey-free rounds. But those bonuses are so valuable. So valuable. Riley checking in. Can Cantlay keep up this putting pace? It is impossible, yes. I mean, nothing is impossible, right? But there's no way. There's no way. I outlined it earlier. He's had the 2 single best putting rounds of his career. He has either turned into the best putter on planet Earth, or he is due for a rude awakening at some point, which is hopefully soon, because if he wins, actually, I wanted to look at this. There have only been a few guys who have won events losing strokes from tee to green. Kevin Na did it at the 2019 Shriners. No, sorry. I almost misquoted that one. Trying to see who else would have done this. I might not have them. They might be my database goes back to 2011. So I'm adding more years, but it might have been before that. So KH Lee, the most recent to do it. Obviously, very, very difficult to do. That's kind of where we're at with Patrick Cantlay at the moment. All right, guys. So here's where we're at. We're in a weather delay. There's no golf going on. Gives us an opportunity to really look at some options. So let me just recap, and then I'll let you guys all go back to your days here. And I'm going to be recording the First Cut podcast at some point this evening. We'll see what time that ends up being. But here's the way that I see it for the big questions that people are concerned about. Is Patrick Cantlay's putting sustainable? No. How is Sungjae Im looking? Pretty good. How is Sergio Garcia playing? Unsustainably. How is Hudson Swafford playing? Probably unsustainably, but it doesn't matter at this point. I'm a hold on Rory McIlroy, not buying, not selling at this point. If you want to make a bet on golfers to win right now, you should be doing it on golfers who are still out on the golf course. The best odds for me, I believe, are Xander at 33-1. He's still out on the golf course. Dustin Johnson's a little bit, he's played 2 more holes than Xander has, all that good stuff. So Xander to me at 33-1 is probably the best If you want to bet anyone who's already in the clubhouse, like a Bryson DeChambeau, like a Patrick Cantlay, which I don't encourage you to do, but if you want to, it's your money. Like a Rory McIlroy, you should be waiting, right? You should absolutely be waiting. What's wrong with Collin Morikawa? That's a question that came up. It's not pretty. He's in dead last. The approach game is continuing to be a letdown. I guess we can blame it on the back, and he's not healthy or he has not figured out the mechanics yet, but it has not been very good. Outside of that, who I think is going to win this golf tournament, if you ask me right now, I would say the Bryson stat line looks really good, but man, I still think Rory could win. I think it's Rahm. I think it's still Rahm. I wouldn't want to bet it, but he's got holes to play. He's going to close the gap. He's a bit more sustainable than he's a lot more sustainable than Cantlay. The Bryson numbers look really good. The Bryson numbers look really good. So we'll see how that goes over the course of the next couple rounds. I can't believe I just did 42 minutes with no golf going on. I thought that was like 12 minutes. It was 42 minutes without golf going on. So hope you enjoy kind of a weird Friday. No cut, no nothing going on. I like to just dive into some of these guys, and with no action to follow, I thought this was a really good time to do it. So thank you all for stopping by. I will have some more content out very, very soon. Best of luck the rest of the way, and I'll talk to you guys later.